Hello, everyone. This is another Black Conservative. I'm Brian Bolden. Thank you all for joining me. The more I hear, should I even use the term president? I will. I'll go ahead and use the term president out of respect for the position. But the more I hear this man, President Joe Biden, talk, the more disgusted I become because essentially what he's saying now is that it was some kind of a post meeting that he had, and essentially he said that parents that want to protect their children from gender affirming care are cruel and hateful and bigoted and just mean spirited. This is beyond understanding. I mean, this is just insane when you get the most powerful man, technically speaking, in the world saying that parents that want to protect their children from so-called gender affirming care are cruel and evil. Now, before I'm just going to read a small portion of the article in the Breitbart News that I want to touch on in a few minutes. But anytime you get to that level of insanity, you are in trouble. You are in trouble. Now, let me ask this question. How is it that these parents that want to protect their children from gender affirming care, that they call it, how is it that them wanting to protect their children, how is that cruel to them? How is that mean spirited? How is it? Because according to the article and the portion I'm about to read, there was a study that was conducted that basically said that these puberty blockers that these young people are given is actually having a detrimental effects on these young people psychologically, physically, you name it. It's having a negative effect on them. And basically what it's saying is that these young people who are getting these puberty blockers are essentially nothing more than guinea pigs. That's basically what they are. They're guinea pigs used by the liberal, the liberal radical left. That's what they are. And to have the most powerful man in the world get up and say these kind of things shows that essentially not only is he empty-headed and a slave to the system, but anyone that supports that has to be the same thing. Because, see, man, you got to look at this thing, man. I'm trying to condense this information here because this is just insane. Excuse me. And Joe Biden has said, since he's been the president, have said some insane things before, and I've done videos on this. He talked about how we need to push the New World Order. America needs to be the one spearheading that. No one talks about that, right? It's all a conspiracy theory. Yeah. Go on my Christian channel and find that one out. And he said some crazy things in the past. But this one is just as crazy. You want to demonize parents who want to protect their children from this kind of gender affirming care. Now, the phrase gender affirming care is a name that the radical left Marxists give this procedure in order to make it sound softer and more acceptable to the masses. Gender affirming care, it's a medical procedure that's designed to help these young people who want to transition to whatever they feel like they want to be. Instead of saying, you know what, if you feel this way, that's something that's not natural, you may need to get help. No, don't do that. Don't do that. We have medical procedures that can actually assist you. This is gender affirming care. We care about you, which they don't. Satan doesn't care about you, okay? But this is basically what they're using the term. That's what gender affirming care. Listen to how that sounds. It's all designed to soften the impact of what it really is all about, which is mutilating your children, confusing their sexuality, and controlling their mind for the future new world order. That's what it's about. And I'm going to keep pressing it until it actually happens, because it's going to happen. But man, this is just crazy. I mean, this is absolutely crazy. And we got to understand, man, that people in positions like this, like President Joe Biden, celebrities, and others, have vast influence on the minds of millions and millions of people. And the purpose of demonizing parents who want to protect their children from this type of stuff is to make the parents look insane and make the parents look crazy. It's all mind control. It's all manipulation and mind control. When you get to the point in a country where things that decades ago was considered to be anathema, was considered to be taboo, it was considered to be pure evil, when you get to a point in your country where those things are okay now, or verging on the cliff of okay, you are in trouble. America, we are in trouble. We are in trouble. And this has been going on since the 60s, and it's increasing in intensity. But let me say this. Before I read this portion of the article here, I want to say this. It's just a small portion. I made this statement some time ago about the radical left pushing their agenda, pushing this sexual exploitation upon our children, Satanism, and all this other stuff. Why is this so intense? Why is this so fervent? These corporations, why are they coming out pushing this type of stuff? What's going on here? And I made the statement that Trump slowed them down. So now they got to push it even harder. That's partly true, in my opinion. But I believe the other reason too is they feel threatened. And that's really good news, because if they feel threatened, then they feel the need. We got to really hype this up. We got to wear the people down. We got to hype this up. But what they fail to realize is the more that they try to hype it up, the more that they try to bombard people with it, the more people resist it, because people are starting to see, wait a minute, man, why you keep trying to push this kid stuff on my children? Why you keep trying to push this stuff here, push that, put Satanism and everything? Why are you pushing this stuff? Why are you so rampant with it? What's going on? And so people are starting to retreat. Okay, they're starting to back away and say, wait a minute, man, you're trying to force feed me. You're trying to choke me to death with this type of stuff. And it's actually backfiring on them because they feel threatened. They feel like they're losing ground. And that's the other reason why that these radical leftists are pushing this type of stuff. They feel threatened. It's not just that Trump slowed them down in his off with the time he was in office. It wasn't just that. They feel threatened because they're starting to see that there are people that are starting to say, wait a minute, hold it. I don't want this on my children. See, because if they can't get you as a consenting adult, because most of the consenting adults they got anyway. If they can't get you, they'll come after your children. Now, truth of the matter is, and I don't want to get too much deep into this, but the truth of the matter is they've been after the children since the 1960s, even prior to that. But the 1960s countercultural revolution was when it really, really started. Okay, they've been after our children since the 1960s. Okay, from day one. But it's like I said, people are their eyes are starting to open now. They're starting to see, wait a minute, this is way too radical. You're coming after my children. And they're coming after the children because the children's minds, and we all know this, the children's minds is more impressionable. Their minds do not have the cognitive ability to make proper decisions at that age. They don't. So when these people tell you, when these radical leftists tell you, well, this gender affirming care, and the child, that's a bunch of BS. Okay, they got doo-doo in their mouth and they're talking to you and they're spitting that doo-doo out at you and it stinks. That's a lie from the pits of hell. Okay, they want our children. And that's why they're doing it, because the children's minds are vulnerable. Don't believe the lie. It's a lie from the pits of hell. Don't believe it. Resist it. Oppose it. Push against it in Jesus' name. But if not in Jesus' name, in something, but push against it, man, because it's a lie from the pits of hell. Now, let me just read this I'm going to read you this right here real quick. Because this is a trip here. Okay. Now, this has to do with the study that was conducted. Says the action followed a report from Florida Medicaid, which found these treatments to be experimental and investigational in nature. It says studies presented the benefits to mental health, including those claims that the services prevent suicide, are either low or very low quality and rely on unreliable methods such as surveys and retrospective analysis, both of which are cross-sectional and highly biased, the document noted, adding that, quote, evidence shows that the above treatments pose irreversible consequences, exacerbate or fail to alleviate existing mental conditions, and cause infertility or sterileness. Look at this. It says, further, the Wall Street Journal recently published an opinion piece by Gerald Posner, who observed that, quote, gender-affirming care for children is, quote, a human experiment on children and teens, the most vulnerable patients. In the piece, he notes that the drugs used to treat gender dysphoria, puberty blockers, have not been approved by the Food and Drug Administration to treat gender dysphoria specifically. He says, let me see here. It says, the Center for Investigative Reporting revealed in 2017 that the FDA has received more than 10,000 adverse event reports from women who were given Lupron off-label as children to help them grow taller. They reported thinning in brittle bones, teeth that shed enamel or cracked, degenerative spinal discs, painful joints, radical mood swings, seizures, migraines, and suicidal thoughts. Oh man, it's just terrible. In other words, this medication that they're taking for these puberty blockers and all this other kind of nonsense has had adverse effects on them. It says 10,000 of them. It's not a couple of few dozen, but 10,000 of them. That's a shame. That is a shame. But you will not see that kind of information, okay, promoted on the mainstream media. You may see bits and pieces of it, a little bit here, a little bit there, but nothing really promoted like systemic racism, right? We got to get rid of these systemic racism. We got to get rid of this white supremacy because it's really destroying our country when the very true white supremacists are in the White House. And they're trying to kill all of you, white, black, Hispanic, whoever, that goes against their agenda. They're coming after the kids. I just read you that. You can go to the description box below and read the rest of that article from Breitbart News on your own. But the fact of the matter is, to sum this video up, we have a man in a leadership position, the president of the United States, and the supposed most powerful man in the world, even though he really isn't. That's just a phrase that they use. The man is a puppet, saying these kind of things about parents. It's a shame when someone like that can say that. He's a puppet with an empty head, and they pumping his head full of all kinds of nonsense. But they're scared. They're scared, man, and they're trying to push it big time. They're scared because people are starting to wake up. They're starting to wake up. Now, I'll end the video on this. As a parent, I'm coming back to that. As a parent, look, if you want to do that to your children, you're free to do that. That's your children. I didn't give birth to them, you did. Them your children, that's your son, that's your daughter. Look, I'm not going to tell you how to run your life with your children. Okay. And that's some of the argument they're trying to push. It's like, well, you know, we got these states and so forth that's banning these gender affirming care from parents that may want to, you know, do this type of stuff with their children. Well, go somewhere else and do it. You know, I'm not going to, what these politicians are doing, saying we're not going to encourage you mutilating your children. That's like encouraging serial killers and murderers and rapists. Why would you do that? It makes no sense other than the fact that you're starting to call what is good evil and evil good. And that's where we are in our country. We calling evil good and good evil. That's where we are. And we have politicians in positions of authority, and we have activist groups that are so messed up that they don't know which end is which, that they're pushing this kind of agenda. Now, I'm going to end it on this, and I promise you, I'm going to hit these with these activist groups. I would not at all get out with a microphone and start talking to these activist groups, these radical left activist groups with blue hair and pink hair, hooping and hollering and drooling. I wouldn't at all try to say anything about it because they're violent and they will put their hands on you. Their brains are gone. The only person that can help them is God himself. He has to intervene and miraculously help them because they're demon possessed and their brain is mush. So why would I waste my time? I pray for them to get delivered, but I'm not going to sit up there and try to talk to them. They're gone. Because they have become nothing more than useful idiots for the radical leftist establishment, and Biden is a part of that. And that's all I got to say about this. Hey, You get what you vote for. You get what you vote for. What do you guys think? Leave your comments in the comment section below. Like, share, and subscribe to my channel. God bless you all, and see you again.